Stop making deals with the part of you that wants comfort over growth. You know exactly what I mean. The part of you that says, it's okay to skip the workout today. The part of you that whispers, I'll start tomorrow. The part of you that gives you 100 excuses instead of one reason to act. That voice is your enemy. It is not there to protect you, it is there to keep you small. Every time you listen to it, you sign a silent contract with failure, and every contract you sign takes a little piece of your potential away. You weren't put here to be average. You weren't put here to be comfortable. You were put here to test your limits and rewrite what's possible for you. And that will never happen if you keep negotiating with yourself. Do you think champions feel motivated every day? Do you think leaders wake up always ready to fight? No, they act first, they decide first, and their feelings catch up later. Your problem isn't lack of motivation, it's too much permission. You've been giving yourself too many outs, too many passes, too many next times. You need to shut the door on Plan B. You need to stop debating whether you'll do the work and start living like there's no other option. You have dreams that are dying in the waiting room of your excuses. You have goals you keep pushing further down the road because it's easier to talk than to start. And the truth is, the longer you delay, the heavier the weight of regret will feel. So today, right now, decide that you are done making deals with weakness. Decide that your word is final. Decide that the moment you commit, it's over, there is no turning back. Stop negotiating with yourself. Start commanding yourself. The life you want is waiting on the other side of your excuses, and it's not coming closer until you move. Self-negotiation is a trap. Every time you sit down and try to convince yourself to do less than you know you're capable of, you lose a little piece of your future. Every time you bargain with laziness, you give away power. Every time you accept comfort over challenge, you steal from the life you could be living. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it is a thief that robs you silently. It takes your discipline, your progress, your momentum. It replaces your drive with excuses and your hunger with hesitation. And the worst part is, you don't even notice it happening at first. It feels harmless to say, I'll do it later. It feels reasonable to think, I've done enough for today. It feels safe to believe, I need to rest. But deep down, you know the truth. You know the difference between real rest and pure avoidance. You know when you're protecting your energy and when you're protecting your comfort zone. And that comfort zone is not your friend. It's a cage, a warm, cozy prison that convinces you it's freedom. You're not negotiating with a part of you that cares about your future. You're negotiating with the part of you that fears change, and that part of you will always take the deal that keeps you the same. If you let it win today, it will want more tomorrow. Soon, you won't even have the energy to dream big, because the small voice that told you to slow down will become the loudest voice in the room. You'll start lowering your standards without realizing it. You'll start telling yourself that you never really wanted those goals in the first place. That's what comfort does, it rewrites your ambition until it's unrecognizable. And the only way to stop it is to stop playing the game entirely. When the voice inside says, maybe we can take it easy, you answer no. When it says, let's wait until we feel ready, you answer, I move now. You take back control by removing the option to back down. Because once you decide, really decide, there's nothing left to discuss. Your excuses are contracts with failure. Every time you make one, you sign your name on a silent agreement to stay exactly where you are. Each excuse might feel small, but they stack up. One skipped workout, one delayed project, one I'll do it tomorrow. And before you know it, those tiny agreements have built an entire wall between you and your goals. Excuses feel harmless in the moment because they give you instant relief. They let you escape discomfort. They give you permission to take the easy path. They allow you to feel safe for now, but they come with a cost. The cost is progress you'll never make, opportunities you'll never see, a future you'll never live. Excuses are not just words you tell yourself, they are decisions. Decisions to delay action, decisions to settle for less, decisions to stay in the same place, and every decision you make moves you in one of two directions, closer to your dreams or deeper into regret. You can't keep signing deals with failure and expect success to knock on your door. You can't keep defending your reasons and hope for different results. The truth is, you don't need better opportunities. You need fewer excuses, because the gap between you and what you want isn't filled with luck, talent, or resources. It's filled with the excuses you've been making. Every excuse is a moment where you traded long-term achievement for short-term comfort, and that trade will never be worth it. So the next time you hear yourself saying, "I don't have time," remember what you're really saying. You're saying, "I choose not to make time." When you say, "I'm too tired," you're really saying, "I choose comfort over growth." And when you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're really saying, "I'm okay with staying the same today." The longer you keep making those choices, the further away your goals will drift, until one day you wake up and realize they're gone completely. That's the real danger of excuses. They don't just slow you down. They erase the life you could have lived. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It feels warm, it feels safe, it feels like the right place to be, but it is the one place where nothing changes. Comfort is where dreams quietly fade away. It is where potential is traded for routine. It is where your hunger for more is replaced by the easy satisfaction of staying the same. You were not built to stay in one place. Your mind was built to be challenged. Your body was built to be tested. Your spirit was built to rise above resistance. And all of that happens only when you step into discomfort. Discomfort is not punishment. It is the signal that you are breaking limits. It is the weight that makes you stronger. It is the stretch that makes you flexible. It is the heat that forges you into something unshakable. The reason so many people never reach their potential is because they run from that feeling. They choose the couch over the gym. They choose silence over speaking up. They choose what's easy over what's necessary. And in doing so, they choose to stay the same. Success does not live in comfort. It lives in the early mornings when you don't feel ready. It lives in the late nights when you're tired but still working. It lives in the moments when you push, even though every part of you wants to stop. That is where transformation begins, at the edge of your comfort zone. Every time you step into discomfort, you expand it. What was once scary becomes familiar. What was once impossible becomes normal. And what once felt like too much becomes your new standard. But that can only happen if you stop protecting yourself from the very thing that will make you grow. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is your invitation. The moment you accept it, you step into the only place where real progress is made. Champions act without waiting for motivation. They don't sit around hoping to feel ready. They don't waste time waiting for the perfect moment. They know that action comes first, and feelings follow. Most people get this backwards. They wait to feel inspired before they move. They wait for energy before they start. They wait for confidence before they take the leap. And that's why they stay stuck. If you wait for motivation to knock, you might be waiting forever. Motivation is not a starter, it's a byproduct. It shows up after you've taken the first step, not before. Champions understand this truth deeply. They train when they don't want to. They work when they'd rather rest. They push when every part of them says stop. And somewhere in the process, The motivation they didn't have at the beginning starts to appear. It's the act of doing that creates the feeling of wanting to do more. Think about it. How many times have you started a task you didn't feel like doing, only to get into the rhythm and realize you didn't want to stop? That's the power of action. Your brain catches up to your body. Your feelings catch up to your decisions. The decision to act is the real fuel. The moment you decide, you take control. The moment you move, you break the grip of hesitation. Champions don't allow their mood to dictate their moves. They use discipline as the driver and let emotion ride in the backseat. And because of that, they keep showing up, day after day, step after step. While others wait to feel ready, champions are already halfway to the finish line. They know that if they can just start, the energy will come. If they can just move, the fire will grow. And if they keep going, motivation will stop being a requirement and start being a reward. Too much permission breeds inaction. The more you allow yourself to delay, the more you will delay. The more you give yourself a way out, the more you will take it. It starts small. You tell yourself, it's okay to skip just once. You tell yourself, I'll make up for it tomorrow. You tell yourself, I deserve a break. And before you know it, those little permissions become habits. They stack up until quitting feels normal, until putting things off becomes your default setting. You have to understand that every time you give yourself an out, you weaken your own word. You teach yourself that your promises are negotiable. You train your mind to believe that commitment is optional. And if commitment is optional, success becomes impossible. There is a reason high achievers set non-negotiable rules for themselves. They remove the option to quit. They remove the option to skip. They remove the option to wait until they feel ready. It's not because they are naturally more disciplined, it's because they've learned that freedom without boundaries destroys progress. Too much freedom is a trap. When you have no limits, you drift. When you have no rules, you stall. When you have too many choices, you choose the easiest one. That's why you must limit your outs and excuses. If you say you're doing something, do it. If you set a time, stick to it. If you make a commitment, honor it like it's unbreakable. Because every time you follow through, you strengthen trust in yourself, and every time you let yourself off the hook, you weaken it. Soon, keeping your word becomes natural, not because it's easy, but because you've made it the only option. The less you negotiate with yourself, the faster you move. The fewer outs you give yourself, the more momentum you build. And the moment you remove the option to quit, you give yourself the only real chance to win. Shut the door on Plan B. Commit fully to your path without escape routes. Because as long as you have a backup plan, you will never give your all to Plan A. When there's an easy way out, your mind will always keep one foot outside the door. You'll hold back, you'll play it safe, you'll never push past your limits because you know you have somewhere soft to land. But greatness is never found in safety. It's found in the moments when there is no choice but to move forward. When you burn the bridges behind you, you stop thinking about retreat. You start thinking only about how to win. When there's no Plan B, you stop entertaining failure as an option. You stop wondering, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, how do I make it work? That shift changes everything. It forces you to become resourceful. It forces you to dig deeper. It forces you to discover a level of focus you didn't know you had. Plan B feels smart. It feels safe. But in reality, it's a safety net that catches more dreams than it saves. It keeps you from taking the risks that lead to breakthrough. It keeps you from giving everything you've got because part of you knows you can still survive without winning. If you want to succeed, you have to remove that cushion. You have to make success the only possible outcome in your mind. When there's nowhere else to go, you will move forward. When there's nothing to fall back on, you will rise. It's not about being reckless, it's about being all in. All in with your effort, all in with your focus, all in with your belief that this is going to work because it has to. Close every side door, lock every escape route, and give yourself no other choice but to fight for the life you want. Excuses put your dreams in a waiting room. They tell your goals to sit down and wait until you're ready. They keep your future on hold while you handle more important things that often don't matter at all. You convince yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself you're just waiting for the right time, but time doesn't wait for you. Every day you delay, momentum fades. Every day you stall, the fire inside burns a little weaker. Momentum is the secret force behind progress. Once you have it, it carries you forward. It makes action easier, faster, more natural. But momentum is fragile. It's built by consistent action, and it dies the moment you stop. Every excuse you make is like hitting the brakes on a moving car. You don't just slow down, you lose the speed you worked so hard to build. And starting again will cost you 10 times more energy than if you had just kept going. People think they can pause their dreams and pick them back up anytime, but that's not how it works. When you delay, life fills the space with distractions, obligations, and noise. Your dreams don't stay where you left them, they drift further away. And the longer they wait, the harder it is to reach them. Excuses don't just waste time, they steal opportunity. They take away chances that will never come back. They replace urgency with comfort, and comfort is where ambition goes to die. The truth is, your dreams don't belong in a waiting room, they belong in motion. They belong in daily effort, daily progress, daily wins no matter how small, because every small step keeps the momentum alive. And momentum is what turns impossible goals into inevitable achievements. Stop telling yourself later. Later is the enemy. Later is where dreams go to fade. The only way to protect momentum is to act now, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel ready. Because if you keep your dreams moving, they'll never have to wait for you again. Regret grows heavier over time. It starts as a small thought in the back of your mind, a quiet whisper that says, "I should have done it." At first, it's easy to ignore. You tell yourself you'll try again later. You tell yourself there's still plenty of time, but days turn into months, months turn into years, and that small whisper becomes a voice you can't shut off. It reminds you of the chances you didn't take, the dreams you left untouched, the work you never started. The longer you wait, the more it weighs on you. Because time doesn't just pass, it takes pieces of your opportunity with it. The things you could have done in your 20s feel harder in your 30s. The things you could have built in your 30s feel impossible in your 40s. It's not that you can't still try, it's that the cost has grown. You'll have fewer resources, less energy, and more responsibilities pulling you away. And regret will keep getting heavier because it feeds on what if. What if I had started earlier? What if I hadn't stopped? What if I had given everything instead of holding back? Those questions never stop once they start. They become a constant weight you carry everywhere you go. And it doesn't just sit in your mind, it leaks into how you see yourself. It makes you doubt your own potential. It makes you believe you missed your chance. But the truth is, you haven't, not yet. You still have this moment. Right now is the lightest regret will ever be. Every day you wait, it grows. Every day you delay, the weight doubles. If you don't start now, one day you will look back wishing you could trade everything for one more shot at today. You have that shot now. Take it before the weight crushes you. Your word to yourself must be final, because if you can't trust yourself, nothing else matters. Every promise you break to yourself chips away at your confidence. Every time you say you'll do something and you don't, You teach yourself that your own word is optional. And when your own word is optional, discipline disappears. Self-trust is not built by big wins, it's built by kept promises. The small commitments you honor every single day create the foundation for the big ones. When you tell yourself you'll wake up early, and you do, you get stronger. When you say you'll finish that task and you finish it, you get stronger. When you commit to showing up, no matter how you feel, you get stronger. But every time you break that chain, you weaken it. It's not about perfection, it's about integrity with yourself. Because if you can't rely on you, you'll never push through the moments when no one else is watching. You'll always need outside pressure to move, and the truth is, there will be times when no one is there to push you. Those moments reveal whether you've built self-trust or self-doubt. Your mind listens to your actions more than your intentions. If you consistently follow through, your mind learns that your word means something. It learns that when you say, "I will," it's already done. That's the standard you need to set your word to yourself, is law. No back and forth, no negotiations, no "I'll try." You say it, you do it. And when you live by that rule, you don't just build discipline, you build power. Because the person who can trust themselves can achieve anything. They don't wait for motivation, they don't need someone to check in, they don't question whether they'll show up, they already know they will. Your promises to yourself are the most important contracts you will ever sign. Honor them, because every time you do, you strengthen the unshakable belief that you are the kind of person who always follows through. Command yourself instead of convincing yourself, because every time you try to convince yourself, you open the door to negotiation. And negotiation with yourself is dangerous. It's where excuses live. It's where you start weighing comfort against commitment, and comfort usually wins. Discipline is the opposite of negotiation. Discipline doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" It doesn't wait for a reason. It doesn't care about your mood. Discipline is a command. It's a decision made once, followed without debate. When you command yourself, you remove the question of if. You remove the possibility of talking yourself out of it. You give the order, and you execute it no matter how you feel in the moment. That's why disciplined people win. It's not that they're stronger, faster, or more motivated than everyone else. It's that they don't waste time bargaining with themselves. They don't spend energy debating whether to start. They just start, and once you start, momentum takes over. But if you linger in negotiation, momentum dies before it begins. Think about how much time you've lost convincing yourself to do the things you already knew you needed to do. Minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, and sometimes the thing never gets done at all. Command yourself, and that delay disappears. The order is final. The task is non-negotiable. You're not hoping you'll get it done, you're making it happen. That mindset turns action into a habit. It turns hard things into normal things. It turns your word to yourself into law. Discipline beats negotiation because it's faster, cleaner, and more reliable. Negotiation lets weakness speak. Discipline silences it. So stop asking yourself whether you'll do it. Stop trying to find a reason to move. Give the command and obey it. Because the more you lead yourself like this, the less you'll ever need to talk yourself into anything again.